Are you stuck in a conflict-ridden relationship where every argument turns into an endless battle, leaving you drained and hopeless? Do you feel like you're caught in a psychological maze, where all attempts at communication seem futile, as if an invisible force is controlling you? Be careful, you might be a puppet in the hands of a narcissist. These master manipulators skillfully use masks to hide their true nature and push you into pre-arranged roles, making you doubt yourself. But don't worry, in this video I'll uncover 3 familiar roles that narcissists often use to manipulate you, trapping you in a cycle of endless conflict. You'll discover the subtle psychological traps they set, and more importantly, you'll be equipped with the secret weapons to identify and counter their tactics. Don't let yourself fall victim to manipulation. Join me on a journey to uncover and free yourself from toxic relationships. By the end of the video, you'll learn how to resist manipulation, reclaim your peace, and restore your personal freedom. First, they'll play the role of a hero who enters your life like a savior. Think back to the first time you met them. Was it an unforgettable encounter where you felt like you'd found a prince straight out of a fairy tale? They seemed so perfect that you believed you had met your destiny. From sweet words to subtle gestures of care, everything about them exuded an irresistible charm. But now, looking back, you realize it was just a flawless mask they skillfully wore, a carefully curated version of themselves designed to captivate you from the very first moment. They manipulate you by whispering flattering compliments and making promises that seemed genuine but were merely pieces of their larger manipulation scheme. They painted a dreamlike picture, a future filled with happiness, commitment, and shared aspirations. You began to believe that they were the only person in the world capable of truly loving you, someone born to be with you. But in reality, it was all part of a psychological tactic known as love bombing, a classic strategy narcissists use to control their victims. This tactic becomes even more dangerous when you're in a vulnerable or weakened state. They appear as a savior, showering you with overwhelming attention and care, making you believe they're the only one who can help you through tough times. But don't be mistaken, their goal is not to heal you, but to make you dependent on them, turning you into a puppet under their control. At first, you might feel rescued, loved, and protected, but as soon as you start trusting and relying on them, their true colors begin to show. The sweet care turns into control, the loving words morph into criticism, and the dreamy promises become chains that bind you. Be wary of saints who appear too soon in your life, those who seem too perfect from the very first meeting. Excessive kindness, exaggerated compassion, or overly attentive actions might be signs of a perfect mask hiding an entirely different nature. Pause, listen to your intuition. Sometimes, that vague unease you feel is the warning you need to heed. Narcissists are cunning. They use their charm as a tool to manipulate your emotions. They will flatter you, amplify your best qualities, and make you feel special, convincing you that you are worthy of their love. They'll pay close attention to the smallest details of your life, making you feel like the center of their world. They might give you unexpected gifts or perform unparalleled acts of care, but behind this generosity, there's always a price to pay. Their goal is to create a power imbalance in the relationship. They want you to feel indebted to them, an invisible debt that you can never fully repay. Once you've fallen into this trap, they will manipulate and exploit you, forcing you to sacrifice your needs to satisfy their selfish demands without any reciprocation. Eventually, you'll find yourself caught in a toxic cycle. You might resist by becoming combative to protect yourself or comply as a rescuer to preserve the relationship, but regardless of your role, you're still under their control, trapped in the psychological game they've orchestrated. The initial charm was merely a glittering mask, and when that mask falls, their true nature is revealed. A calculating narcissist who manipulates others to feed their massive yet hollow ego. Stay vigilant, for awareness and inner strength are your keys to breaking free from their manipulative grasp and reclaiming your freedom. And when you bravely unmask the manipulator and escape their toxic cycle, don't assume it's over just yet. They'll transform into a new role, the pitiful victim, to elicit sympathy and shift the blame onto you. So, how do they orchestrate this scheme? Let's expose the intricate tricks they use to continue their manipulation. They play the victim. In the world of narcissists, they are always the victims of injustice. Always mistreated, misunderstood, and abandoned by the world. This is one of their favorite roles. A familiar method to attract attention and manipulate others. They will endlessly recount their sufferings, painting themselves as the hopeless romantic misunderstood by a cruel lover. They may also remind you of the sacrifices and gifts they lavished on you during the love-bombing phase, presenting these as undeniable proof of their sincerity. Alternatively, they might share tales of their supposed emotional scars, such as being neglected by their parents, misunderstood by family, unsupported by colleagues, or burdened by a difficult boss. Of course, everyone has experienced unfairness in life. For most of us, these painful memories fade into the past, resurfacing only when triggered by specific events. They are like healed scars, occasional twinges during changes in weather, not persistent pain that haunts us daily. However, for narcissists, they are perpetually victims of fate, and naturally, according to them, the blame always lies with others. In truth, narcissists are master manipulators, artists of distorting facts, exaggerating situations and shifting blame. They will never admit their own mistakes, but will always find ways to blame circumstances, other people, or even the entire world. Pay close attention to what I call professional victims. These individuals use tears, breakdowns, or pitiful expressions as weapons to manipulate the emotions of others. They often play this card when they sense you've become emotionally invested. They'll make you feel guilty, even blaming yourself for failing to meet their expectations. Watch how they react when things don't go their way. Do they try to resolve problems maturely, or do they throw tantrums and whine like a child? When criticized or faced with their own mistakes, do they quickly turn into the poor victim to dodge responsibility and elicit your sympathy? If the answer is yes, it's time to raise your guard. Tears, weakness, or a pitiful demeanor are sometimes just powerful weapons in the arsenal of manipulators. Don't let your empathy become a tool they use to exploit you. Stay vigilant and see through the performances they stage. Their goal is not only to control you, but potentially to harm others around you as well. Empathy is a precious gift, a reflection of human understanding and kindness. However, if your empathy drives you to prove that you are different, that you would never hurt them, pause and be cautious. You might be falling into a carefully constructed victim trap orchestrated by a skilled manipulator. Empathy doesn't mean blindness. Learn to set boundaries and don't hesitate to say no if you feel you're being taken advantage of. Only by protecting yourself from manipulators can you preserve the true value of empathy, to help those who genuinely need it and to build healthy, authentic relationships. They play the innocent. Feigning innocence isn't just a tactic, it's a sophisticated art in the manipulative arsenal of narcissists. They put on a mask of innocence, pretending to be clueless and unaware of common social norms or moral standards. Why? To evade responsibility, manipulate your emotions, and turn you from a person with valid grievances into someone defending their innocence. Picture this scenario. When confronted with their mistakes, instead of owning up sincerely, they wear an innocent expression and utter deeply disarming lines like, "Oh, I didn't know that was wrong," or "I didn't mean to hurt you." Their tone is soft, their demeanor as harmless as a child's, evoking your compassion and forgiveness. They flip the script, transforming you from the accuser into the consoler, even making you question if you were too harsh on them. But don't be fooled. It's merely a meticulously crafted facade concealing their cunning calculation. In reality, these individuals are far from naive. If you pay close attention, you'll notice their innocence only surfaces when they're called to account. In other situations, they are incredibly sharp, They can analyze movies in detail, provide astute critiques of character behavior, or even condemn unethical actions with righteous fervor. When discussing others, they seem to have a deep understanding of social norms, as if the rules of society are entirely at their fingertips. But when the blame falls on them, all that insight suddenly vanishes. They forget all the standards and cast themselves as a helpless, clueless victim. This feigned innocence doesn't just help them escape accountability, it's a tool to manipulate your emotions. They prey on your compassion, making you feel like you're being overly strict or unkind. Over time, you might soften, excuse their mistakes, and even blame yourself for doubting them. Some narcissists take it even further, convincing you that you're the one at fault for not being understanding or supportive enough. But it's all part of an elaborate performance. Narcissists know exactly what they're doing. They are neither accidental nor naive. They are acting deliberately to achieve their goals. They aim to control your emotions, keeping you off balance and easily influenced. The most critical step is to remain clear-headed and observant. Don't let their sweet words or pitiful demeanor cloud your judgment. Remember, a truly innocent person doesn't repeatedly use their innocence as a weapon to avoid responsibility. Trust your intuition and don't allow yourself to be drawn into their manipulative cycle. When faced with a narcissist playing innocent, stand your ground and set clear boundaries. You are not obligated to carry their responsibilities or feel guilty for not forgiving them. Protect yourself and your values. In the narcissist's world, innocence is merely a tool for exploitation. But if you refuse to let them control you, the act will quickly lose its power. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life. Think back to conversations with people who leave you feeling manipulated, controlled, or emotionally drained. Are you stuck in a relationship with a narcissist? Do they tend to take on one of the roles in the drama triangle, the victim, the persecutor, or the rescuer? More importantly, what role are you being pulled into in this psychological game? If you realize you're trapped in such a relationship, the first step is observation and awareness. Ask yourself, why am I being drawn into this role? Is it due to excessive empathy that makes me a willing rescuer, or is it fear of conflict that keeps me a compliant victim? Understanding your role is the first step toward breaking free from the cycle. However, awareness alone is not enough. To truly free yourself from the drama triangle, you must muster the courage to step outside of it and refuse to participate. When the narcissist tries to cast you as the rescuer by recounting tales of injustice, resist the urge to solve their problems for them. When they play the persecutor, hurting you with harsh words, set firm boundaries and refuse to fall into the victim role. Don't try to change them because you can't control others, especially narcissists who rarely recognize their own faults. The only person you can change is yourself. How you respond, how you confront the situation, and how you protect yourself from manipulation. As you learn to step out of the drama triangle, you'll notice a significant shift within yourself. You'll feel more grounded, less swayed by the emotions of others. Confidence will return, and you'll realize that you have the power to choose how to live, how to communicate, and how to build healthy relationships. Remember, breaking free from the drama triangle isn't selfish. It's how you protect your mental and emotional well-being. Only by stepping out of this toxic loop can you create the space to grow and live a fuller, more meaningful life. You don't need to be the rescuer, nor should you endure being the victim or retaliate by becoming the persecutor. Instead, choose to be yourself, strong, independent, and fully in control of your life. Understanding the three roles narcissists often assume, the victim, the innocent, and the rescuing hero, is the first step toward breaking free from the toxic cycle they create. These roles are not accidental but deliberate strategies designed to manipulate your emotions, confuse you, and keep you trapped in conflict. However, you have the power to step out of this game. Instead of getting drawn into the narrative they've constructed, choose to stay outside of it. Refusing to participate not only allows you to reclaim your autonomy, but also disrupts the toxic cycle they rely on to maintain control. Remember, true power lies in your ability to control your own reactions. and not let them dictate your emotions. By setting boundaries, protecting your energy, and focusing on positive values, you can not only escape the conflict, but also build a life free from their manipulative influence. Let your journey out of this cycle be a bold statement that you deserve peace and genuine relationships. And always remember, your life does not have to revolve around the roles they create. You are the one who writes the script of your own story. Thank you for following along with this topic. If you found it helpful, please hit like, share it, and join us for more meaningful discussions ahead.